How the hell does somebody get out of this damn job and semi-replace their income, semi-retire, and then fully retire? Hi, I'm Jaryd Krause. I'm the host of the Buying Online Businesses podcast. I got presented a question via email by somebody around retirement and a path to wealth. And so I just decided to sit down and have a chat with you guys and just get out what's in my head around the steps that you need to take to get to, earning a little bit of money online, and then fully replacing your income, quitting a job, and then building wealth, and the things that you may come across along the journey, and the mindset principles that you need to be able to get you there as well. Now, there's so much value in this podcast episode. It's not the only way that I can help you for free, though. If you're going to buy an online business, make sure you go away and get my due diligence framework. It takes the guesswork out of buying an online business. It's at buyingonlinebusinesses.com/free resources. It's what I've used, it's what my clients use, is help people save millions of dollars and make people millions of dollars. So go away and get it. Let's dive into the pod. Okay, road to semi-retire to fully retire through passive income. Now, this is completely unscripted. This is from a question that I got from Jamie McGrory. So thanks for sending this question in, Jamie. With the suggestion of, me creating some long form discussion or content around just one singular question. And it's basically, I'm just going to hash out a bit of a roadmap from sort of start to finish, and depending on where you're at in your life, financially, time-wise, and life situational-wise, what have you done, where you're just going to be starting in this journey to, earning a bit of passive income, semi-retirement to fully retirement, and then building wealth. So, first and foremost, we need to accept where we're at in our life financially, and then create a roadmap towards that. So first, accepting is very, very important. Accepting where we're at. Maybe we don't have what we want. Maybe we're not making the money we want. Maybe we're not saving the money we want. Maybe we don't have the job that we like or the life that we like. I'm going to put my hand up here, and that was completely me. I thought, I was earning good money, and it's a bit different these days with, how much I earn and what I earn from my investments and all that sort of stuff compared to when I first started. I thought I was earning good money, and I'm just a testament, and there's so many other people out there as well that are testaments to you can reshape and go bigger and bigger and bigger. There really is no glass ceiling, and that's something I'm going to mention throughout this chat as well. But first, let's just accept where we're at. And also, at the same time, don't accept where we're at. So accepting where we're at is good. Everything's, there's positives and negatives to everything, right? And there's duality to everything. So accepting where we're at, the positives to that is that, okay, we accept where we're at, and we're not going to beat ourselves up about it too much, right? And play the role of a victim. A lot of people play the victim role throughout their life. Poor me. And this is hard, and they connect with other people through complaining. You probably know a lot of people like that. I did, until I consciously decided to choose my friends and my circle, and choose who I wanted to be around, and choose my environment. Something that is going to be helpful for you on your path to wealth. So that's the positive of accepting it. But the positive, the negative or the positive of not accepting it, I should say, is that you're not accepting your position in life, that it's going to be like this forever, and then you're going to do something about it. So really, the secret that everybody's searching for to how do I get there, it's very simple. It's hard. It's extremely hard. But this is so simple that it's just commitment, right? You just really need to be so damn committed. You need to basically put yourself in a position, or have the mindset that there's absolutely no other option. There's no other option. Like, you living the life that you are living and earning the income that you're living, or the situation that you have with your finances, is not, like I said, you've accepted where you're at, but it's not acceptable for the long term. And it's just not, you just can't, there's no other option. You can't stay where you're at. And before I started, well, as I first started buying online business, I used to have phone sales and calls with people. And I would literally present the option to them of like, we talk about, all right, where are you at? You know, what do you not like about where you're at? And then where do you want to go? And where a lot of people get caught is they go, oh, I'm attached to my situation, and are scared to get outside the comfort zone. And I'm going to reiterate this multiple times through this pod, you really need to commit. And I'm talking about commit to it forever, right? A lot of people want a Band-Aid. A lot of people I just want out of the situation. But if you're going to build wealth and you want to semi-retire, you need to be able to, and then fully retire. You need to be able to say, I'll do this, I'll work at this forever, as hard as I can. Obviously within reason, without killing yourself. I've actually been to the point where I worked so hard that I got super sick. But you need to commit to it, and you need to work super damn hard to do this and be in it forever. Commit to it forever. I've got one sort of thing that I do, like word that is a cuss word. But if you're gonna, first you got to find your, and I'm going to say this cuss word soon, but first you got to find your lane, right? You got to find the vehicle that's going to get you there. Most of you guys are listening. He's like, I want to buy a business. I want to buy an online business so I can have that lifestyle. Now, there's a billion other routes that you can take, right? You can invest in so many other things. But what you need to do is you need to stick to one, right? And commit to it for an absolute minimum of 5 years. Like I said to you before, you should be committing to this for life, because the compounding that comes from it is just insanely exceptional. And that's where real growth happens. For example, Warren Buffett committed to acquiring businesses, right? And he started buying them small portions of them until he could start buying the whole company. And that's what he does. And he's been doing it for decades. And he earned, I think, 90% of his wealth in the last couple of years, right? From compounding. For example, say he's got like $90 billion. I think he made like $80 billion in the last sort of 8 years or so, which is just insane to think about. When he's got $90 billion, he made the 80 in the last, within the last decade, and he's been doing this for 4 or more decades. So the compounding really is in your favor. And even when you think about this around like the difference between 3 years to 10 years, there's a good saying that is, often we overestimate what we can achieve in 3 years and underestimate what we can achieve in 10 years. So for me, I wanted to replace my income as soon as possible, right? And I said I would, I committed to myself, and I committed to the path forever, and I'm going to continue on this path forever of acquiring businesses. It's not just a vehicle that I'm going to run, it's a lifestyle that I'm going to choose. And I would urge you guys to adopt the same sort of lifestyle of building wealth, in acquiring assets and acquiring businesses, because you can make it into a lifestyle. I have. And when I started this I tried to make my first dollar online in 2013, right? So time of recording, that's 11 years ago. My goal was to just make a couple of $1,000s a month to, be able to pay for my expenses to travel around the world and surf. So if you take me back 10 years ago, that was basically where my goal was at, right? 10 years is, I've been investing for 21 years actually. But 10 years has passed, and I have far exceeded what I even conceptually thought was possible. And I was speaking to my mentor just 2 days ago around what I have achieved not just, I'm not saying that I've done it all myself, right? I've had help and all that sort of stuff, but what has come into fruition in my life within a 10-year period because of the commitment that I have to it. So I want you guys to adopt that. And when I say stay in your lane, what I'm saying is choose this vehicle, make it a lifestyle. And the cuss word that I wanted to mention is just stay, and this is going to help you remember it, stay in your fucking lane. Just stay in the lane and commit to it and get the compounding growth from it. Now, I've done a bunch of episodes on mindset around how to achieve things, my 3's to achievement, my 3 C's to achievement, right? Commitment comes before courage, which comes before confidence. So if you want to become a confident investor, confident in knowing that you have replaced your income, semi-retired, fully retired, and you're a wealth generator, to become confident at that, you need to be courageous enough, and then you need to have that commitment. To get that commitment, you need to have a vision. You need to have that vision and make everything else in your life no other option. You need to work on that constantly. And then as you achieve that vision, you need to allow that vision to reiterate and set new goals as well. Now, coming back to the start, depending on where you're at, set some small goals, right? Don't set ridiculous goals because what happens is when you guys look at, say, something somebody's achieved, they're making $5,000 a month after, buying a business, and it only took them 5 months to buy. They may be a single person and no children, no work, they don't need to work maybe, and they've achieved this awesome result. That person may not be comparable to where you're at in your life situation. So don't set expectations on yourself based on what other people have achieved and the inputs they can put in. We don't count time as a factor when trying to achieve something, or I don't anyway, because it's a very ridiculous way to claim success within a certain period of time. It's more about the inputs in and the outputs. So remember that. Now, another thing is set that goal of maybe for your first business to buy something that is making maybe enough money to pay for your grocery bill. Maybe it's a couple $100 a week or a couple $100 a month, and then work your way up to starting to replace all of your expenses, right? Also, at the same time, and I'm not the biggest advocate for it, I'm more of an advocate for you should not cut out too many expenses in your life and downgrade your life, but instead work out a way to earn more money to afford a better lifestyle. At the same time, though, it is hard to get into that position where you are earning more money. And sometimes what can help you get you there faster is eliminating some entertainment expenses. And what I mean by entertainment expenses is unnecessary entertainment expenses. Like maybe you don't need to be paying for Netflix or a bunch of other streaming softwares. Maybe you can downgrade how much you're spending on your phone bill or your internet bill. Food, I would not be compromising on that. Shelter, I think you should be in a great space, of course. The better the space, the more inspiring it is. However, sometimes, if you're in something that's a bit unnecessary because you're, in quotes, keeping up with the Joneses or trying to show the world that you've made it, that can be detrimental to your success. It can be detrimental to your growth. It can really squash you or strangle your growth. So something to understand there. So slowly start to work your way up to achieving those things. I would say you should give yourself 5 years minimum, like I said before, to get to a point that you're earning a bit of money online. And then once you've worked out that step, then the rest can compound, right? You can start to go bigger. You can start to work on it harder. You can start to make a few moves because you've got some resources. And we'll talk about the next resource allocation shortly. Now, once you start earning money, it's exciting. And you can start to see you get closer to the end of the tunnel, right? The light starts to get a bit brighter, and you're starting to see you're close to the end of the tunnel, and you can leave your job. Now, I get it. I get messages and emails from people all the time. Jaryd, I can't be in my job any longer. I just can't do it. I've just got to do this within a short time frame, and I've got to make it work. My answer to that is to like slow down a little bit, because when we rush, we typically make mistakes. And I think you guys should be, and if I was starting out again, I would be urging myself to stay in my job a little bit longer. Not longer than I did, but longer than what most people expect they should be staying in their role and earning an income. Because there's a level of stress component with being a business owner that you need to deal with. And sometimes when we quit our job too early, and maybe we're not making as much as we should be making to cover bills, but we have this ambition and we have this flair and we have this commitment, and we're just, really hungry for it, and we tell ourselves we can make it work, what happens is that we leave our, sort of stable sort of income, and then we have to make it work, and we put our backs against the wall, and sometimes when we're too stressed, we don't make the best decisions, like I said before. So don't quit your job too early. In fact, I would be suggesting don't quit your job until you're making more than your current wage, or more than your current wage, and the income from that business or vehicle that you've got is a stable, predictable income. Now, I know with online income, it can be unpredictable at times, but you want to have one that's pretty stable and pretty decent income. And you also want to make sure you are saving enough money as well. So not just number one, I've replaced my income. Number two should be, yes, you should have that income should be pretty stable. The average wage should be stable and more than what you were previously earning in your job or your roles, so you can afford to reinvest, right? You can not just grow the business that you have, but you can also afford to take money on the side and reinvest. As well as when it comes to really starting to build wealth, and like I haven't built generational wealth. I mean, I haven't been doing this long enough, and I haven't made the as aggressive moves as some other people to start to get to the point where I'm building generational wealth yet. And I am on the path to getting there. However, when you want to build that level of wealth, you can't just buy a business or own a business that's making enough money to pay for your lifestyle. You need to be able to typically save money to reinvest into other things, but also what grows that even faster is have enough money or a decent wage to show lenders that you can get finance to acquire other assets and to acquire larger assets. And I'm not saying, there has to be online businesses. It can be other assets as well. So that's a very, very important thing to think about before you go, yes, cool, I've got enough and I can get by and I'm going to leave my job. There's obviously nuances to this. Everybody's personal situation is very different as well. But these are the suggestions that I would be suggesting on a path to getting yourself to a point where you are fully retired and you're building wealth. Now, most people forget what the actual goal is when it's, to build wealth and to retire. Most people say they want this, but I believe what they really want is they want freedom. I think that's what the real goal is: freedom of stress, time freedom, and location independence. Right? That's what I believe the real goal is that people are searching for, and a lot of people lose sight of that. And remember, if you get caught in the point where you're like just building wealth and just working super hard, you may be stressed and you may be attaching yourself to a location or a certain work schedule or a certain figure of income that you need to make to, in quotes, be happy. When reality is you can typically, I believe what happiness equals is fulfillment and content and peace, right? Being at peace in your life. And so that's what I believe most people are searching for. And sometimes, people get caught up too much in the money thing and the work thing and trying to build wealth when you sometimes, you might be stuffing yourself over there. So then when you get to the point, the next stage is when you get to the point that you're earning a good, stable, solid income and you're saving money, then you can go and get debt and you can acquire other assets like larger online businesses, and you might, on this path as well, you might buy one business and you might grow it and then you might sell it. Or you might buy one business, grow it, and then you've got enough money that you've built up from your savings from that as well. And then you might buy another one and build out a bit of a portfolio. Now, I would advise against buying too many businesses too soon. I've done this. You guys know a bit about my story where I bought 3 businesses in 3 years, my first 3 businesses, and it wasn't the smartest move. Later in life, I learnt that because I wanted to build wealth, I learned a good quote that I got from a friend who he got from his mentor, which is, for wealth creation, you want concentration. For wealth preservation, you want diversification. Now, most people are taught that we should just diversify. Now, that's what I thought, and I bought too many businesses too soon, too close together, and one ended up crushing it and doing really, really well. And I left the others by the wayside because I wasn't focused on them, right? So I believe for wealth creation, you really need that concentration. So I wouldn't be advising, like, once you bought one business that's making enough to, say, for your income and your expenses and to live, then go away and buy another one that can be like a slush fund one. I believe it's probably better to sell one and then acquire a larger one and just fully focus on it unless you have a really good growth plan with team and systems that is allowing that existing business to grow year over year without any input and concentration from you. So a couple of caveats there. And there you go. That's basically the path to semi replacing your income, slowly building it up to you can, get half of your income more and then fully replace it. Don't leave your job too early, and then you can leave once. I believe you should leave once you are saving money and also earning more than your current wage, and then being able to reinvest those savings on the side and build that wealth to a point where the money is working for you versus you working for the money. Because I think we should get to the point where we have resources, typically our time and our money and our energy, and I believe we should be investing them the best possible way we can. Typically our time, I believe, should be invested in joy, because this is getting a bit woo-woo, but that's what we're here for, is to enjoy life. And that's I believe our sole purpose, right, is to have fulfillment and enjoy life. Not everybody can get to that stage yet, until sometimes we need to work through certain stages. I did as well. I had a very dark time, well before 10 years ago, and had to get through certain stages to be able to get to the point where I could spend my time on joy and things that are fun, and then spend my money that is making me money without me having to touch it. That, I believe, that is the goal. And then the reason that I think that's a very admirable goal is not because, like, hey, look at me, I've made it. That's dumb, in my opinion. The reason I think it's quite admirable is because you are getting yourself out of the way. When you have enough money to acquire an asset that does not need you and it grows without you, then you've eliminated yourself, because typically we get in our own way so much. And then when we have those resources to buy maybe property or online business, and it grows without us because it's got a team and managers and all those sorts of things in place, then it's fully passive. And then it becomes like, all right, I've got this asset here that's producing this level of income or this level of ROI versus this other one. And then you should start to think about, all right, I've got this cash here, I've got these assets, how do I put all of these resources into the best possible location at the right time? And then you start to weigh up opportunity costs and things like that. So I hope that's a bit of a ramble on the path to semi replacing your income. Jamie and everybody else that thought this was valuable and want to listen, if anybody does have questions that they do want to propose to me, please email them through. Happy to answer them through a podcast like I did here. I know this was only one question, but I'm going to come back and reiterate again. A lot of people want to replace their income. Now, I don't think that's good enough. A lot of people want a lot of things and have a level of expectation that they should achieve it because other people have achieved it. But they don't really know what work went into achieving that, you know. I believe you can want things, but you don't deserve them. Right? Just because you want something does not mean you deserve it. And I was speaking to a friend about this the other day, is when you want to own a certain size business. Say you want to own a $3 million business that produces $1 million passive income per year or semi-passive income per year. The goal, like what you should understand is that you may want that business, but what you need to do, and this is the wants versus need, you need to become the person through the journey and through the process that deserves to own a $3 million business. So you need to change yourself, you need to change your character, and you need to go through the journey of maybe losing a bit of money, gaining a bit of money, having hardships, things fall out from under you, and then keep on the path towards that to become the person that can be accountable and can be responsible enough to own and handle a $3 million business that owns, say, $1 million passive income or semi-passive income per year. Now, on this journey, and I've had people buy businesses and say, this isn't for me, right? Because on this journey, you will come up against some adversity, and I'm talking real adversity that is life-changing. You know, if you get through it, it's life-changing. If you don't get through it, it's life-changing because you'll stay in the same position. Obviously, if you guys haven't heard me talk about the book, The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday, I suggest you read it. It's highly recommended reading for everybody that does my courses. Take on the hard path. Take the path towards wealth. Take the path towards semi-passive income, semi-retirement, and full retirement, and then building wealth. And just wanting something isn't good enough. You need to become that person that deserves to own that type of asset and deserves to have that type of life. And I'm gonna butcher it, but I've heard Tim Ferriss talk about it, and he and other people talk about it as well, around achieving things. And it's a lot of these, like I've mentioned, I've spoke about this for like half an hour here, just about, it's very simple in theory. But you need to make the right decisions, and especially when you come up against adversity and pressure. And so what Tim and his mentor talk about is easy choices, hard life, hard choices, easy life. I'll give you an example. So if you make easy choices in your life, typically it's going to make your life harder. Vice versa, if you make harder choices, harder decisions, and you don't just back away from those hard decisions typically are going to make your life easier. The quick example that I give people is alcohol. When I was younger, I quit alcohol and partying, and a lot of my friends wanted to peer pressure me into drinking because of their own stuff, I would say. And I said no, and they kept peer pressuring me, and I came across the decision through peer pressure. It was like, do I make the easy choice and just go, yeah, okay, I'll drink? But that would make my life harder, because if I drunk, then I wouldn't be able to wake up the next day feeling fresh, go for a surf, maybe do some work on the side. and it's going to wreck my body as well, right? So making that easy choice makes my life harder when you come up against adversity. Now, the other way around is if I made the hard choice when that adversity came towards me, of that peer pressure, and I stood solid and strong and said no. And that made my life so much easier because I could wake up the next day, I could go surfing, I'd be happier, fun, I'd be healthier, and I can do the work with a proper mindset towards achieving the goals that I want to achieve. So, and it's the same when it comes to business. Now, I'm not saying that every single time you come up against adversity that you need to just rush at it like a bull out of the gate. Sometimes we need to be patient, but we need to make moves. And sometimes it's better to fold as well. However, if you just fold every time, you're not going to get anywhere. You're just out of the game. So at times you need to choose to make those hard decisions to move forwards and tackle that adversity and overcome it. So there you go. A lot of this is really mindset. It's all about what's going on between your head. And to get there, you need to have people that have achieved great success in the areas of their life that can be a sounding board for you. I don't recommend speaking to people that want to keep you safe and want your, just want to keep you safe, and just they might have your best interests at heart, but based on their knowledge and understanding the world. Some of the decisions you make would be bad decisions for their model of the world versus a mentor that's been through some level of adversity. They might say, you should do it this way instead. And it might help you, it would likely help you get towards your goal faster by having the right people in your ballpark. That's basically it. I hope that helps, guys. Sending love, and I'll speak to you soon.